Good afternoon and welcome to the new OpenAPI webinar. I am Alessandro Mollicone, CMO of OpenAPI, and with me is Michele.
Hi everybody, I'm Michele Amoruso and I'm one of the developers of OpenAPI.
Perfect. So for those of you who did not attend the previous webinar, let me remind you of two pieces of practical information. We will be available at the end of the webinar for your clarification questions. And then the full video will be available late tomorrow afternoon on our YouTube channel. One more piece of information, we will be attending the IS Week and AI Week event next week. So if you come by, it will be a pleasure to meet you directly there. Other information also related to the event, we have digital accesses to the event available. So if you are interested in participating, you can contact me. My email is amollicone@openapi.com. You will have to write me by this afternoon or late evening, and I will get these digital accesses to you. At this point, we can begin the presentation. In the last few months, as you have also noticed, OpenAPI has focused a lot on the process of internationalizing the services and the platform. What has happened in the last few months is that we have released a new console, which is now accessible in 4 languages: Italian, English, French, German. Regarding the service company, we have made available a new service, Endpoint, dedicated to VAT verification of European companies. We have available timestamps that now have European validity. Same thing for digital and electronic signature. PEC are already adjusted to European validity. SMS can be sent anywhere in the world. Geocoding was born natively, globally, exchange rate, and the last piece is what we are going to talk about today, automotive. The next steps will be the implementation of endpoints dedicated to business information about French companies, post office. It will be possible to send any kind of communication globally, and we will also release a new site in the different languages. Perfect, automotive. What is the context? Let's give some numbers regarding automobiles and mopeds. In Italy, there are about, in 2022, there are more than 40 million cars on the road. Motorcycles are about 7,300,000. Overhauls in 2023 alone were about 16 million, for a total value in 2023 of 1.266 of total expenditures. In 2024, the cars on the road in the European Union plus the United Kingdom are about approaching 300 million, and instead, as far as globally, it is about 1.47 billion. So automotive, what is it? The API allows you to have real-time, official, and detailed global information on cars, motorbikes, insurances, and revisions. Currently, however, the API offers information on a limited number of countries: Italy, France, Germany, and the United Kingdom. We will work in the coming weeks, in the coming months, to cover at least the European Union, and then the goal is to expand globally. What information is available? What use can be made of the Automotive API? You can trace the main information about a motor vehicle or both car and moped. It is possible to check the coverage, the expiration date, the company of an insurance policy, get the main data to evaluate a car from the license plate, and check the revision history for cars in the United Kingdom. Let's see a little more information about the individual services. Car Auto, which is called Car, is available for Italy, France, the United Kingdom, and Germany. The parameter that is needed to perform the search is the license plate for Italy, France, and the United Kingdom, whereas for Germany, another type of identifier is needed, which is KBA number. This is an example of an endpoint. Endpoints are characterized by the term car and the preceding language code. Clearly, this is an example of the Italian one. In France, it will be FR car, UK car. The information is all processed, released in real time. The response will contain over 15 pieces of information such as manufacturer, year of registration, model, version, horsepower. As for the motorcycle service, however, it is currently available for Italy, France, and the United Kingdom. In this case, the parameter will always be the license plate, and the endpoint will always be indicated by the language code plus the term bike. The timings again are in real time, and the information is over 15. Very similar to what you have for the car. There are manufacturer, the year of registration, model, fuel type, and version. These are just examples of information. The information is much more comprehensive. The third service is insurance, currently available exclusively for Italy. The search parameter is license plate. The endpoint is always indicated with the language code and the term insurance. Again, the response, the information is released in real time, and the information is insurance company, expiration of the policy, and whether the vehicle is insured or not. The fourth service available only for UK is MOT, car inspection. In this case, the language code will be UK and the term will be the MOT present within the endpoint. This service is also released in real time. The information available is about the history of all revisions, not just the last revision, and the specific information is the date of the test, the deadline, the result, the kilometers driven at the time of the revision, the test number, and in particular, if the revision is not passed, the reason for not passing. How does it work? We have partly already indicated extensively. The API tends to offer a different type of services for the individual country. It is a GET request. We have seen that it is characterized by a language code and the term car, bike, moti, and insurance. The response is via JSON and the timings are in real time. What are the advantages of choosing our solution? So the data is real time, as we have seen. The information is currently for major European countries, but gradually it will be extended to all countries globally. Official sources are accessed. There is no yearly fee, and the cost is per individual call. At this point, Michele, let me leave it to you to give more technical information to show more or less how the individual requests work for the various services.
Thank you, Alessandro. So I would first start by sharing our documentation so that we can follow a step-by-step example implementation. As my colleague Alessandro already explained, we have broken down the service by state. So you will find in our documentation the endpoints under the state categories. In this case, Italy, France, UK, and Germany. For now, as Alessandro already explained, we have implemented the service for these 4 states with these endpoints. Obviously, in the future, our intention will be to expand the range of our service and maybe even integrate my endpoint for existing states as well. In this service, there is, of course, a service where we will test it, so a sandbox environment where the data received will always be the same, obviously anonymous, and so precisely to test the service and be able to implement it in the best possible way. As you can see, the implementation is almost the same for each GET, so we will simply specify the domain if it is test or production, and in the second moment implemented the endpoint, in this case IT car for Italian cars, adding precisely the license plate. The response precisely will be a given object with all the information inherent to the car. This thing is the same for all the endpoints, so both for motorcycles, insurance in case of Italy, for France, what changes, as for all the other states, is precisely the prefix referring to the country. The only case, let's say, different from the others is Germany, where the KBA number is used, which is another unique identification for cars, but the result is practically the same. So entering the KBA number will always return the car with the reference data. To obviously visualize the service now, maybe we use our playground, which as mentioned last time is nothing more than a method to help implementation. So to visualize how we can implement our services and our APIs and make everything a little bit easier to understand. In this case, in the Sandbox environment, we can do the test, query the France service, and as you see here, it will automatically compile the JSON that references precisely the call for our endpoint. So in this case, querying France car, what we will receive, of course, we are in Sandbox, so we will receive test data. A data object is set up with all the data references to this car, of course, anonymously. We can also visualize for the United Kingdom, again, car. However, in this case, the format of the license plate is different. In fact, there is an error inviting us to use a valid format. Obviously, it's okay now because, as I said before, we're in a test environment. So let's say it will always return an anonymous example. Just use a valid format for the plate. Now, though, I would directly test in live production the service with some license plates that I have marked so that we can visualize, as Alessandro said before, our service that is instantaneous, maybe on the Italian insurance using a truthful license plate. And then what will come back is the car data with the expiration date, that the fact that it is insured, as you see here, has been filled in. Lost in this case, it is no longer test, but we are in production. So automotive.openapi.com, the get is the type of endpoint. Another example we can do is on the, again, UK, maybe to see the overhaul. So the MOT, which is a UK service that we offer. And so here you will be able to view the car data with the table where all the overhaul results have been marked. And in case, as Alexander said before, of a negative result, you will be able to view the information and the reasons why they did not pass, let's say, the overhaul tests. This is our service, obviously very simple, even for implementation. Then thanks to our playground, you make sure that it is all quite clearer. So I will turn the floor over now to Alessandro for any questions and conclusions.
Yes, a piece of information that I forgot at the beginning, that Automotive is going to replace the other API plates, and that will be deprecated by 31/12/2025. So those who are already using license plates, the suggestion is to start migrating, which, Michele, is extremely simple. Can you confirm?
Sure. What we will need to do is to have to use our automotive endpoints now, and then just change the domain with the relevant endpoints. In this case, there will be IT car instead of auto, as well as bike for motorcycles and the one for insurance. But the difference is just that you need to change the domain.
So there is a question, do they ask if only company information and coverage expiration is available in Italy? Then it depends on the type of service being called up. If the question is associated with insurance, currently yes, expiration date, company, and clearly whether or not the vehicle is insured. So let's start with the questions already. If there are any, perfect. So currently there is no API that allows you to retrieve the registered owner. Through the VisEngine API, if I'm not mistaken, there is an option to request a license plate report. But in that case, a PDF, not JSON, if I'm not mistaken. Let's wait another couple of minutes if there are any other questions. I would like to remind those who connected during the webinar that the full video will be available tomorrow afternoon on our YouTube channel, and that we will be at the IS Week and AI Week event next week for those who want to visit us. Other information, we have digital accesses available at the event. If you are interested, you can contact me by email. Unfortunately, we have as a deadline tonight, so if you write me at the end of the webinar, we can get access to these tickets. So is the API synchronous or transactional like the reports?
Obviously, it is synchronous, so it will come
Perfect
immediately.
at this point.
It will return
If there are
the
no
data
further
immediately
questions,
after the GET request
thank
is
you,
made.
and
So
see
it
you
is
at the
a
next
synchronous
webinar,
response.
which should be in the second half of April and is dedicated to the API company. For those who will be there, see you next week. Have a great evening, everyone, and enjoy your work.
Have a great evening, everyone.